Hey, Truth Seekers, Dennis Nappy the second here with Sixth Sense Media and the Future Forecasting Group. I did a remote viewing calibration target just this morning, and I wanted to share my results with you. Lots of lessons learned. It was definitely a calibration because looking at what this project was and how I was slightly off target, but at the same time connected to the target, and it's been a neat experience going through that. So I worked just a random verifiable target this morning, which I try to do regularly. And the goal of it is to really just to practice, to calibrate, to make sure that I'm hitting things. I do work a lot of those woo targets, as I've talked about before, where you don't always get full feedback on what you're looking at. There's no way to verify some of those things. And I was feeling a little bit off. I was feeling like I'm kind of missing things a little bit, or not interpreting things as they actually are. So I want to get back on track and recalibrate my consciousness and my data collection. And I did this target this morning, and I had mixed feelings about it because obviously I didn't. The goal of remote viewing is to describe and not name, right? And so this was a lesson in a lot of areas for me in terms of my ego. I didn't name the thing, and it's tough. I've said this before, working with, with Edward, with Daz, with Dick, Naeem, and even Coral, Susan, and Dimmy. They're so incredible, and I'm always envious is the wrong word. I'm always in awe at how well they all do. It's hard sometimes to keep my ego in check because I feel like they can just sit down and close their eyes and say, "Oh, this is what the target is." I know that's not what they're doing, but they're just so descript. So anyway, I did this target today, and I'm going to share it. I'm going to just share my screen and talk through what it was, and then go through these lessons learned that I've experienced with this. Before I get started, just a quick plug here. If you want to support the work that I do, you can visit sixthsensemedia.net/books. And here you'll have access to the projects that I have out there. We have the I Am Human series, the Hive series, book three. I'm getting close. And I have some spiritual journals that I've been putting together as well. It's a lot of fun. So you can check those out, sixthsensemedia.net/books. Okay, so the target that I was assigned, again, it was just a random calibration target. Stephen Hawking, he went to into zero G. This was back in April of 2007. So this is a while ago. So the target was just to look at Stephen Hawking in zero G, and I didn't quite get that. I'm going to show you my data to see what I did get, but this is what I was supposed to be collecting data on, was Stephen Hawking in zero G. Cool target. I did this. I did my session as I usually do before I picked or was assigned a target. This keeps me completely blind. When I later go and select a target, um, it's again, it's a random process. Either it's something from the internet or something that someone is giving to me with a different target ID. I'm not sitting there saying, okay, this session matches what I think this might be, just the cherry pick stuff. This is, the goal is to get better. So the only way you can get better is by being honest with yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I did this session before I had the target. I felt pretty good this morning. I had trouble with my ideogram. My first ideogram, I just couldn't connect to it. I wrote down no B. I never do no B. This is where you're supposed to get just your basic gestalts and then your S2, your low level data. Um, I just felt there was a lot going on, but it was very forced. I had a structure, and again, this structure I saw it, with the ground beneath it, but it felt very forced as I was going through this. I did get this open space surrounding the structure here, and some colors, and then I realized, you know what? I'm forcing this. I had these two movements. I had life and emotions, or something emotional, and these two halves that were opening up. This was just really weird data for me, and I broke right there, and I went and I did another ideogram because here, I remember the lessons of Edward, and he says, right at the beginning during your ideograms, if remote viewing is taking place, there's a certain feeling, and I wasn't getting those feelings. Usually, when I do an ideogram, I see the whole story right there, and I couldn't see any stories. I was really in my head. So I did another one, and I think I got a little bit closer here. I had this life, but it was it was just all very strange to me. These ideograms are very strange for me. They're not my normal type of ideograms, but if you see it's got this sideways heart here, and then this next one down there, a sideways heart, it looks like. Um, Very unique shapes for me. So it was interesting trying to see those and decode those intuitively and by the way they look. I just had a hard time. So I did three of them, and I had structures, energetics, life, and movement. Again, I'm going through this, and then I had these two objects passing over each other, and and then I sensed there was a life in the center of these. The life was nervous or anxious. He was holding on tightly or out of fear and anxiety, and he was holding these two handles. So, in looking at this now, I suspect that this is Stephen Hawking right here, sitting in his chair, and he's holding on. There was a rumble, there was a jolt, and there was movement. So here now, I think I'm getting onto the target here. And then there was an upwards and downwards movement, a downwards feel like free fall. So what Stephen Hawking did, he went to 0G, and I don't have a graphic of it right here. Oh yeah, here it is right here. So what happens with 0G is the aircraft ascends and then it goes into free fall, and then it ascends again, and then it goes into free fall. And when it's going down, they're in a state of weightlessness, is how it feels. And that's when people get the experience of flying. So that's what I was picking up on here. Like there's the upwards and then a downwards movement. And the downwards felt like free fall. And I had it as like an amusement ride. Someone was up high. I had silence and then crowd sounds and traffic. It was really hard for me to distinguish what was going on. My visual was movement, slow, tan, black, some blue, and I had this thought of riding an elevator, and I was just getting stuck. What's going on here? So I moved past that. I was trying to just get low-level data and just describe things, and then I saw this shape right here. I saw this structure right here. There's something at the top, and then these two layers with struts on either side. I was like, oh, the Eiffel Tower. And I got stuck in an Eiffel Tower AOL. I was really having an off morning. Um, Heart racing, excitement, movement upwards. Again, I had that feeling of movement upwards. So breaking down the basic gestalts, you've got the heart racing, the excitement, movement upwards, hard angled hollow. Well, the aircraft was hollow, open, cold, windy, and then people smiling. There was happiness. This was very emotional, and there's a lot of emotions, which is all accurate for this. People clapping, and then here I have this aircraft, and I wrote "fly over," and this is that tower-like structure that I was seeing. And I was looking at I was just trying to get more information on it. I'm still wrestling with the Eiffel Tower. I had this welded thing, and I just said I'm on an Eiffel. I declared it. I'm on an Eiffel Tower AOL. Move past this and describe. Stop naming. Move to what's most interesting to me and describe. And I said, there's a woman smiling, black hair, 30s, very pretty. She's in a structure that is moving. She has a vantage to see an area around and below her. All right, so looking at this woman, here's what's cool. I mean, well, let's see if you think it's cool. As I was looking for feedback for Stephen Hawking, one of like the third link down in Google was a video of this woman here. Okay, so how did I describe? There's a woman smiling, black hair, 30s, very pretty. She's in a structure that is moving. Okay, so that's this woman right here. She has nothing to do with the target. But what's interesting is that this I ended up using as some of my feedback. So I'm not saying, hey, I was right. This is a calibration target for me. I didn't find a lot of information on the Stephen Hawking trip other than the few news articles that were out there. So I was looking for more information and imagery of this 0G flight, and I couldn't find anything of Stephen Hawking behind besides him just floating in the air. I was looking for him getting on. I was looking for him. I was looking for imagery of what is the air? Well, I found the aircraft, but like, what does the tarmac look like? Are there any other structures? What's the tower look like? I wanted to see all of those things. And in my search, I find this woman, and here's what's interesting. She's waving here. Now, if you look at my session, towards the very end, I gave a final push here. So I had this. Here's what's interesting. I gave myself a movement. Move to a point in time and space that will give viewer a better understanding of this target. So part of this target was zero G. I wasn't getting an understanding with Stephen Hawking in free fall. It's just obviously I had data on that, but I wasn't getting a better understanding of it. So it moved to a point in time and space that was not Stephen Hawking. Once I realized I did this movement, I felt better about it because this technically gives me more information about the target to help me describe it. And here's what I described. Life is down, looking upwards, and I had an AOL of an astronaut. And then the life was moving upwards, and then the life is waving. And then the life I had here was riding in a structure. And then I ended it because I was like, this is just, I really didn't feel connected to the target. So what do we have here with the feedback piece? Life is moving up the steps into the structure, and she's waving. She's in an astronaut uniform, and then she's smiling, black hair, 30s, and she's in zero G, just like an astronaut does. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, Technically it's not, quote on target, but it ties into the feedback that I was looking for. And this is the feedback that I ended up using. So, and again, this isn't to justify my data. If you really want to look at it and say, did you stay on target or did you veer off a little bit? I think some of you will say, nope, you missed aspects of it. And others will say, no, that's valid. That counts because you're still describing the zero G aspect of this target, the aircraft piece of this. I feel like I'm rambling here. Um, so I'm wondering, there's a bunch of structures here at the location. It's where it's where SpaceX is. It's where the Kennedy Space Center is. So there's a lot of space type of stuff. In terms of this towering type of structure that I had of Paris, um, I was trying to explore that here. Woman smiling. I don't know what this segmented thing is, but I had this here. I had this towering thing, and I thought, do these twist here? Are they metallic? A twist at the very top. You see these coming up. And then I had this area is protected. It was as in it was safe to walk, and there's energetics going through it and under it, and with people, and walkways. So I'm wondering if I was picking up on. Let's see. This is Exploration Park. Hang on. Here's what I wanted to look at. This is the Kennedy Space Center. And this stuff, from what I understand, is all around in the area. But if you see this one, the black and white one here, you can look towards the top. It's got that twisted or that metal there that kind of crisscrosses going up and down. So I think I was picking up on some of these rockets that are in the area as well, which I guess are just part of the landscape, part of the decoration of, being down at this park. So overall, I overall, I'm feeling better about this target than I was when I first finished it this morning. I didn't have one of those experiences where I just feel so connected and moved by the target, um, but I thought I completely missed it. And then the more I thought about my feedback and the more I looked at things, it's like, no, I have elements that are all relevant to the target. I wish I would have described Stephen Hawking, but I was having a hard time, and I was really trying not to force it, trying not to force my way through this one. So um, it was a good practice target for me. It's been a few weeks since I've been able to actually do a calibration target, so I felt that I really needed one. So I'm glad that I did. And as I doing this video, talking about it, this really helps me to better connect with my data, better understand and assimilate my data, which, as we know, feedback is such an important part of this process. And when I was a new viewer, I would quick look at the feedback, quick see if I had the obvious hit, and if I didn't, I'd be frustrated or I'd be excited, and that would be the end of it. I really have learned to make a habit of really engaging with the feedback, um, because I know that there's an aspect of that that enhances your data. The things I'm doing now are impacting, in my opinion, the session that I did this morning. So it's pretty neat how that works that way. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This was just a fun one that I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm going to end it here. Check us out, futureforecastinggroup.com. And you can check out my work at sixcentsmedia.net. I'm Dennis Snappy II, reminding you to let your intuition be your guide. Thank you.